You are Locked On Yankees POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, they did it again. The Yankees are going back to the postseason. They beat the Mariners tonight in 10 innings in Seattle, 2-1. We'll talk about the wild finish. Anthony Rizzo was the hitting star. Nestor Cortes took care of most of the pitching. We'll get to the bullpen as well. New York clinches a playoff berth for the 7th time in the last 8 seasons. Yanks going back to the postseason again for the 7th time in 8 seasons. They beat Seattle 2-1. In 10 innings. Hello, everybody. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. If not, welcome aboard. Good to know you. All right. I've spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. You can follow me on X at Jay Berman. That's JayBerman. Welcome to the Locked On Yankees POSTCAST, both on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel and the Locked On Yankees podcast feed. The POSTCAST gives you a place to hang out after every single Yankees game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. We'll chat everything Bombers offense, or at least lack thereof tonight. Not much, with the exception of Mr. Rizzo. The Yankees bats were full of whiffs in Seattle tonight. We'll get to the numbers. We'll also discuss the performance of Nestor Cortes and what it means for his spot moving forward in the rotation. And what does that mean for the playoffs as well? We'll set you up, Yanks and Mariners, with one more to play. That, of course, is Thursday, late afternoon in New York. That'll be a 4 o'clock start in New York, 1 o'clock local time out in Seattle. And, of course, we'll get you set for the rest of the road trip. All that coming up on the POSTCAST. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off with your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. All right, the Yanks get it done. They clinch a playoff spot. They do so for the 59th time in franchise history. If you recall, and most of you don't, the Yankees began play in 1903. So 59 seasons since 1903, the Yankees have gone to the postseason. Worthy of note, the next most is the Dodgers at 37. So the Yankees are really setting the standard there. And they made the postseason 7 of the last 8 seasons. Of course, that one season was last year, and they didn't get it done. But they now lead Baltimore by 5 in the division. They entered play with a 4.5-game lead because Baltimore lost again to San Francisco, 5-3 at Camden Yards. Orioles have now lost 7 of 10. They've scored just 24 runs in their last 12 games. And as we said, Baltimore loses at home to the Giants once again, 5-3 the score. And that means the Yankees now have a 5-game lead in the division. The magic number to clinch the division is down to 6 as we couple that Orioles loss and that Yankees win. So, yes, they clinched a playoff spot tonight just to get in. They're going to the postseason. They've got their eyes set next on the division, and they'll likely get there. Again, they have a 5-game lead with 10 to play. And what's interesting also about the Orioles is we expected that monster series to begin next week in New York against the Orioles. To be honest, it might not mean anything for either team, which is just amazing considering how things have changed over the last couple of days. All right, we'll go inside the numbers with Nestor Cortes. If you recall, back in 2020, he was a bit of a journeyman, released by Seattle. That's right. He was a Mariner. The former Mariner has won his past 4 decisions. And guess what? He didn't win today, but he could have. That includes 1 in relief. That was against the Cubs at Wrigley. He's 2-0 with a 3.18 ERA and 5 career appearances against Seattle, including 4 starts, and he was good tonight. Let's run down those numbers. Cortes, 6 scoreless, allowed just 4 hits and 3 walks, struck out 6 through 97 pitches. And again, he's now back in the rotation where Marcus Stroman is back into the bullpen. So we'll have to wait and see for that dynamic to sort of progress, if you will. Stroman in the rotation, now in the bullpen. Nestor was in the bullpen, now back in the rotation. And again, we'll have to wait and see exactly which way the Yankees are going to move forward. Last 3 road starts for Cortes coming into tonight, 18 innings, a .5 ERA, and that got lowered tonight. Again, 6 scoreless for Nestor, struck out 6 through 97 pitches. All right, that's the good with the Yankee pitching. The bad would obviously be our friends in the bullpen, specifically Clay Holmes. Sorry, Clay, but we got to get on you again. In the 7th, Holmes replaced Tommy Kahnle after 3 batters. Interesting decision. They discussed it on the broadcast tonight, what exactly Aaron Boone was thinking. Kahnle gets the minimum 3 batters. He usually pitches a complete inning, but they went to Holmes. And then, of course, what does Holmes do? Allows the home run to Justin Turner in the 8th inning. His 13th blown save of the season. That still leads the big leagues. In fact, it was the final pitch he threw, and it ties Holmes with Goose Gossage and Dave Righetti for the most blown saves in a single season by any Yankee pitcher. And we still have a week and a half left, although you're not going to see Clay Holmes in a high leverage spot moving forward. If you see him at all. And someone made a great point. Love to give them credit. Just can't think of who tweeted it. But he was an all-star. Can you imagine an all-star the first half of the season to a guy not on the postseason roster the second half of the season, which is entirely possible considering how bad Holmes has been. And now it's about the psyche as well. You know, it's in his head. And to be fair, Jim Wolf, the home plate ump, was incredibly inconsistent. Talked about that on the broadcast as well. They called it a rough night. We'll call it inconsistent, and that's putting it nicely. All right, we talked about Nestor. As we said, 6 innings, no runs, 3 walks, 6 Ks, did not allow a run, as we said, through 97 pitches. The Mariners, 3 or fewer runs 64 times this season. And the Yanks were right there. By the way, Yanks have the best road record in baseball. They're now 47-30, and they're 47-29 against teams with a winning record. So, yes, there was doom and gloom at certain points this season. Really has been a remarkable season, but there was doom and gloom at multiple points during the season. And you know what? The Yankees are now sitting in a position where they're going to clinch the division, and they might very well clinch the best record in the league, in the American League. Cleveland continues to win, but again, so do the Yankees. They'll go for the sweep on Thursday. Well, now technically today, and we'll get to that pitching matchup coming up. But again, the Yanks have been great on the road. They've been great against good teams, sort of played to their competition, really, this year. They've been losing to teams they shouldn't lose to, i.e. the White Sox, even the Rockies. But at the same time, they're beating the teams that are on par with them. And that's a great sign. Again, they're 46-30 on the road, best in baseball. They're 47-29 against teams with a winning record. That, too, is the best in baseball. So we talked about doom and gloom, but look where the Yankees are. Clinched a postseason berth. Believe it or not the first team to clinch a postseason berth today. That actually goes to the Brewers. The Brewers clinched the division. They have won the National League Central for a 3rd time in 4 years. And considering where we all thought the Brewers would be at the start of the season, kudos to Pat Murphy and Milwaukee. Again, he's cruising towards a manager of the year, and the Brewers are cruising towards home games in the postseason. All right, the hitting hero tonight was Anthony Rizzo. The RBI single in the 2nd inning, that played to the first run of the game. And then, of course, he plates the run in the 10th with a first pitch double to plate the ghost runner. And then, obviously, we know what happens in the bottom of the 10th. That's what we should discuss next. Never seen a play like that before, ever. Here's the situation. Man on third. That's Julio Rodriguez. Randy Arozarena at the dish. Ian Hamilton trying to shut the door down. There's only 1 out. Arozarena swings and misses. Actually, there's 0 outs. Swings and misses strike 3. The bat goes towards third base where Julio Rodriguez is. Rodriguez has to get out of the way of the bat, and he's way off the baseline. Arena's bat actually caused Rodriguez to move out of the baseline. Yankees see that. Wells throws to third, slap the tag on, 2 outs in the inning. Hamilton then gets Justin Turner to strike out. Bing, bang, boom, game over. That's 2 consecutive nights where we've seen quite possibly the bonehead play of the year in 2 nights from the same team. Victor Robles trying to steal home with a 3-0 count and the bases loaded yesterday. That probably takes the cake. And then tonight, with the bat going near Rodriguez, he was dramatic trying to get out of the way, and he didn't realize he needed to be on base because the ball was still live. All right, we'll talk about Anthony Rizzo and his defense, which has also been excellent. And again, he had 2 big hits. But first, let's do this. All right, you've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Well, we've got something a little different for you now through September 22nd. All FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment. You can cancel anytime. If that's not enough, be sure to check out FanDuel's Profit Boost in the app and use it for FanDuel's Double Your Winnings for all of Sunday 9:15 pregame moneyline bets. Profit Boost will be live starting on 9/12. View your account page now to learn more about your boost. Just visit FanDuel.com, download America's #1 sportsbook. That, of course, is FanDuel. All right, let's talk game time for a moment. One of my favorite things to do, as you know, as we've discussed, that's to go see live events, be it a game, a concert, whatever. Really one of the best things to do. So Game Time now has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is Game Time. All right, the Yankees are now heading to the postseason officially. The magic number to clinch a playoff spot was 1 coming into tonight, and guess what? They won. They win 2-1 in 10 innings over the Mariners on an absolutely unbelievable bottom of the 10th inning, where we described the bat from Arena nearly taking out Rodriguez. Rodriguez then gets tagged out trying to get back to the bag. Second out of the inning, Ian Hamilton closes the door on Justin Turner next. Lights out. We had first and third, nobody out for the Mariners, and guess what? They did not score. So excellent job by Ian Hamilton, albeit lucky. Still an excellent job. We'll get to the bullpen in just a minute, but we do have to talk about Anthony Rizzo. And we talked about, obviously, his offense with the RBI single in the second, then the RBI double in the 10th, accounting for just 2 runs for the Yankees and only 3 total hits, 2 of them from Rizzo. But I want to dissect his defense just a little bit. It's been real good. If you watch tonight, he made multiple scoops, 3, 4, 5 multiple scoops in which he saved not only errors, but runs. So really was a tremendous job with the glove. And obviously he's been terrible with the bat and hasn't played much this year. But where you see his worth is at first base with the glove, especially in the postseason when you have young guys around the infield. Anthony Volpe, obviously Jazz has never played in the postseason. But again, point being, having that scooping first baseman over there on the right side of the infield really is a warming feeling, if you will. And that's something that the Yankees value, and they should, coming in the postseason, and they will. As we said, the Mariners scored 3 or fewer runs 64 times. The Yankees just dominate Seattle. And again, they play tomorrow as well, or I guess technically today now. Bryce Miller pitched pretty well tonight for Seattle. 6 innings, 1 earned, struck out 8 through 106 pitches, which was a season high. Only reason we bring up his numbers is because he had allowed 5 home runs and 13 earned runs to the Yanks in his career, just a couple of starts. So he turned things around. Man, if the Mariners could just get any kind of offense, that would be a lethal team in the postseason with their starting pitching. But it doesn't look like they're going to get over the top. And they have a couple of teams to jump. Again, Cal Raleigh had 2 hits. Justin Turner had 2 hits, and that was really it. The Yankees only had 3 hits, with 2 for Anthony Rizzo, the other going to Juan Soto. All right, let's talk about the bullpen now. We saw Tommy Kahnle, Clay Holmes, Luke Weaver, and Ian Hamilton. Obviously, we have to talk about Holmes, who blew his 13th game of the season. 2 questions. Do we see him at all in the regular season the rest of the way in a close spot? Blowout, maybe. Close spot, I don't know. And taking it a step further, do we see him on the postseason roster? Again, this was an all-star. Clay Holmes was an all-star this year. Had a wonderful first half. Obviously, things have changed in the second half. Is he on the postseason roster? We'll have to wait and see exactly which direction the Yankees go. He might have still a week and a half to prove himself, which seems ridiculous at this point because he's had 5.5 months to prove himself, and the last 3 he couldn't, or at least proved himself to be damaged goods. All right, so Tommy Kahnle, again, faced 3 batters, got 2 of them out, was not allowed to complete the inning, and that was a decision that we questioned at first from Boone, and obviously it turned out to backfire because Holmes allowed the home run. However, Luke Weaver, who I thought was going to be the closer moving forward, got really 5 huge outs, an inning and 2/3, a walk, struck out 4 through only 29 pitches in that inning and 2/3. The key here is Ian Hamilton, who saves his first game of the season and again gets essentially into and out of trouble in the bottom of the 10th inning. Is it Hamilton and Weaver? Weaver and Hamilton, 8-9, 9-8? How's that going to work out? My guess it's one of those 2 guys working the 9th inning, and then whoever isn't that 9th inning guy will be the 8th inning guy. All right, again, does Ian Hamilton belong closing? I think the Yankees' best reliever right now is Luke Weaver, and especially considering he's been going 2 innings at a clip. But Hamilton got the last inning tonight, and it provided the Yankees with this spark, especially on the second to last play before Justin Turner struck out. Again, never seen that. Arozarena and Julio Rodriguez. There was no Giancarlo Stanton for a second consecutive night, and that's worthy of discussion. With Jason Dominguez up and now likely to play every single day, and for some reason, Boone just can't quit Alex Verdugo. So Verdugo was in left. Dominguez was in center. Aaron Judge, a second consecutive day DHing, which also meant a second consecutive day with no Giancarlo Stanton. Interesting, because we discussed on this postcast several times over the past week that we thought the playoff lineup would include Giancarlo Stanton. Now, it might still very well include him. The question is it going to include him every single game? And I'm starting to think it's going to be a platoon situation. Verdugo in left when he plays, obviously. Judge in center, Dominguez DH. Or Dominguez in center, Judge DH, no Stanton. If Stanton plays, he'll DH, Dominguez in left, and Judge in center. All right, we will set you up for the rest of the series, rest of the road trip, rest of the regular season. We have to talk about that Baltimore series as well. We'll do that coming up next. All right, for most, spending $2,000 or more on a rookie card isn't, well, in the cards, if you know what I mean. But here's something that will perk you up. Thanks to slab packs from arenaclub.com, it's possible to score gem mints for a fraction of their retail price. Arena Club is the only repack that gives you real value, a complete view of all possible cards, and clear hit rates on each one. Arena Club slab packs are fully transparent. After your pulls are revealed, they are immediately placed in your showroom for safekeeping, selling, trading, or auction. The Arena Club grading process is accurate, fast, and transparent. Whether you're buying, selling, trading, or displaying, Arena Club is the card collecting platform you just have to check out. Right now, you can get 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase. Go to arenaclub.com/lockedonmlb and use the code LOCKEDONMLB. That's arenaclub.com/lockedonmlb with code LOCKEDONMLB for 10% off your first purchase. All right, a couple of minutes remaining after a 2-1 Yankee win and a clinching of a playoff berth for the 59th time in franchise history. They've made the postseason, have the Yankees 7 of the last 8 seasons, and obviously this one's just a little bit more special considering last season there was no berth. So this one's special. Congrats to Boone and the boys. Yanks are now 47-30 on the road. That's the best road record in baseball. They're 47-29 against teams with a winning record. That too is the best mark in baseball. And they did it tonight with really not much offense. 3 hits, 2 from Anthony Rizzo, both run-scoring hits. A single in the second inning put the Yanks on the board 1-0. It was 1-1 into the 10th. A leadoff double with the ghost runners scoring. That was Dominguez again. Dominguez, interestingly enough, scored both runs on Rizzo's hits. So he's speedy. And the first one, by the way, was preceded by a stolen base. So it was a manufactured run. And kudos to Dominguez for doing that. You can see his value there with the speed, with the defense, with the exception of that one play tonight. But with the speed and the defense, he's going to play. And I'm having some thoughts that that might be bad news in regards to playing time for Giancarlo Stanton. All right, we do have the rest of the schedule to hook you up with. We'll start later today where the Yankees and Mariners will wrap up their season series. Clark Schmidt, Logan Gilbert, really an excellent pitching matchup. Should be fun. Schmidt is 5-3 with a 2.41 ERA. Gilbert 7-11 with a 3.24 ERA. Both have had pretty good seasons. All right, then we move on to Oakland. The Yankees will begin a series in Oakland, their final series in Oakland against the Athletics, Friday night, Saturday night as well, and then Sunday afternoon on that football Sunday. And then we return home for what could be 3 meaningless games with Baltimore. That's right, meaningless. They have been going the wrong direction. As we told you with the Orioles, they've now lost 7 of 10. They've scored just 24 runs in their last 12 games. They lose again to the Giants at home tonight, who, by the way, not going to the postseason. The Orioles, the offense just isn't there. 5-3 was that final score. They now trail the Yankees by 5 games in the division. Yikes. So again, 3 with Baltimore and then 3 with Pittsburgh to wrap up the season, and then we're on to the postseason. We'll have to wait and see who they play. All right, thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. Now go check out the Locked On MLB podcast. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day. You can find the link to Locked On MLB in the description, so you don't need to search. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Also want to mention our partners in crime over at Locked On Yankees, Stacy Gotsulias and Brian McKean. They handle all this stuff again at Locked On Yankees. They're the best. Follow, subscribe, and enjoy. So to wrap things up, for a 59th time since 1903, the Yankees have clinched a postseason berth. They beat the Mariners tonight 2-1 in really ridiculous fashion. And the Yankees are going to the postseason. Should be fun. We'll wrap up the series in Seattle tomorrow right here on the postcast, so hope you'll join us. Again, that's a 4:10 first pitch. We'll be with you shortly after. Enjoy the night, everyone. It's been fun. Bye-bye.